told this honorable member called Mr. Muchero, we know he's a former employee of Treasury. That's why we told him he has a very good presentation, very good figures, but the grounding for those figures is wrong.
I wish, this is a very good banter, because I think this is an education process. No, we actually don't, maybe he was unclear in the way he explained himself. That, you see, our analysis was on development appropriations and recurrent appropriations. Wanachair, I want to assure you, I wish we had brought the documents here. In recurrent appropriations, all debt payments are there. External debt payments, what is in CFS? External debt payments are there. Domestic debt payments are there. They even listed and scheduled. They are all there. So I think this is an education for all of us. Because I can assure you they are there.
Chairman, yes, I find it becoming a learning process and a counter-argument. If we could allow Wanjigi to go through very fast and then now relate what you are talking about to the amendment of the PMM Act in relation to public debt, so that we can expense this matter once and for all, rather than...
Okay, honorable members, let's allow Wanjigi now to present uninterrupted.
He can be heard uninterrupted. Let be heard uninterrupted.
Honorable members, I beg you, can I allow him to present uninterrupted? Then we, please now, you have the...
Thank you, Chair. What you are seeing up there are the appropriations bill development. Whereas I've said, according to the law, all debt is to be taken in the medium term for development. So if there's any debt that has been approved for development, it would appear there very clearly. And the Public Finance Management Act, remember, also says that you can only take money in the short term for cash flow problems, and that short term is viewed as 1 year. So please, if there was any debt to be incurred for any project, it would be right here. And these figures are directly from the appropriations bill development. So over the last 9 years, because when we did this it was 9 years, 2 trillion shillings had been approved by the Honorable House, the August House, for development. Now, in contrast that, we found, go to the next slide. Yes. Now, this is now data from the Exchequer account at CBK, which clearly tells us our debt ratio. Now, what we are seeing is that on the first column, the second column, you see the years, then you have the second column. We have public debt as per CBK data. 2.6 in the first term and 3.4 in the second term. A total of 6.1 taken over 9 years. We have the appropriations development, which is clear about the amount approved by Parliament for development. After all, that's how you develop a line item for expenditure for a particular project. It is through the appropriations development. 2 trillion. So we found a variance between what CBK was showing and what Parliament had done. And that variance was to the tune of 4 trillion shillings. 4 trillion shillings. Now, if debt is to be anchored in development, we did not understand where that 4 trillion above what was passed by Parliament meant. Because it meant that it did not go for any project that Parliament approved. There was no way there was a line item. No way. Next slide. Yes. Now, in the same CBK figures, it showed that they had accumulated a domestic debt over the 2 terms of 2.9 trillion. Again, domestic debt, if you look at the appropriations, development does not exist anywhere in the borrowings, in any of the schedules, and we looked through it with a fine-tooth comb. Domestic debt does not fund any single project of government. Never has, and it does not. So that debt, we said, had not been authorized by Parliament for any development. And over the years, it had accumulated, at least up to March last year, to 2.9 trillion. Next slide. I think we've exhausted that. Next one. Now, is the CBK data accurate? Now, what we found, is the appropriations recurrent? Appropriations recurrent. Okay, just go back. Just go back. It's okay. Next. That one. No, next. Next. Yes. No, next. Forward. 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 Yes. Yes. Now, what we found is that in the appropriations recurrent that we were talking about earlier, the second column there after the years, payments of debt are recorded. They're all recorded and approved by Parliament. And the debt approved for payment from our taxes was 5.6 trillion. That is what has been paid as of March last year. We said against that, take a debt, even if we say it was unauthorized of 6.1, you had a negative 4.7. Now you add what we found was the carryover debt of Mwai Kibaki, it was 2.3. We felt that even if you say the 4 trillion was authorized somewhere, and we don't believe it was authorized anywhere, you still have, and you only have a negative balance of 2.8 trillion. Not the figure we were seeing, next slide, in the central bank account of 8.4. Now, our assertion, let's be very clear, Parliament only approved 2 trillion. 6 trillion was taken. 5.6 trillion was paid. Our assertion is that even if you include Mwai Kibaki's debt, there should be a credit balance in our account of 1.2 trillion. That is our assertion. That if you take the debt that was approved by Parliament, you take the carryover debt from Mwai Kibaki, you take what has been approved by the House in recurrent appropriations as payment of debt, the total we have in our account is actually a credit balance of 1.2 trillion. That is what we are saying is lawful. We do not owe any money to anybody. That is our position. Let's go to the next slide. I think that's a good summary there, right? Repayment of principals, repayment of interest. You can see the total debt that we have paid in appropriations recurrent bill. It is there. That is the total we have paid. But what we are finding in central bank at the time